This week, we've got a brand new wave of Star Wars Armada ships, plus haikus.
And our topic of the week, International Tabletop Day. We're going to talk about how it first got started and how people now, including us, are celebrating it. I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and this is the Roll for Crit podcast.
Only recently did we see the new Star Wars Armada game come out, and we're already hearing news of new expansions. These new ships, 5 expansions in particular, include ships for both sides. First off, we're seeing the MC-30C frigate, which is a small rebel transportation ship, or scouting ship. We're also seeing Home 1, the signature ship of Admiral Akbar, a fan favorite. The character, I don't know about the ship. Then we're also seeing Rogues and Villains. What this actually is not one big ship, but a bunch of small ships. What's interesting is it's a lot of the ones we saw just in the new X-Wing wave. So we're seeing Millennium Falcon, the reprints Millennium Falcon, Slave 1, the IG-2000, but including some other ships, which should make me curious, wondering if we're going to actually see those in the X-Wing. Like, they're all the small ships, so which is really cool. Also, Imperial Raider, which we actually talked about a while ago, which is a whole new ship in the Star Wars universe. Created in it, and I think it looks really cool.
So I think we haven't actually played Armada yet, but I did learn how to play it.
Right, as of this recording.
As of this recording, and I believe the little ships are what are called squadrons.
Sorry,
just
well,
interesting to know.
Well, it's interesting because in the ship we have looked through it, and they're called squadron makes sense because it's like, you actually have 4 TIE fighters.
Right.
But the Rogues and Villains, all of them are a single ship, like the Millennium Falcon.
That's true, so they might come up with a new title for them. I don't know.
Like there may be a mid-class, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. However, we haven't gone to the biggest ship, the Imperial-class Star Destroyer. This is actually going for MSRP around $50 to $60. I can't remember the exact amount. And judging by the picture, like it looks like it's almost like this big. Like it looks huge.
It looks pretty ridiculous.
And we're assuming this is the ship that actually picks up Princess Leia's ship in the very beginning of the
Return. Famous shot from the opening A New Hope where it flies overhead. Which every time I see a picture of a ship in X-Wing, I think it's that ship. Then they're like, no, there's a much bigger one. It's this. So I think later on there's going to be one that's just like the size of the whole playing field. It's just going to be a shadow covering your 3 foot by 3 foot area. Anyway.
Like we said, one of the things I do want to try out eventually when we play this,
I
think is to be hilarious, is we actually do, we take the X-Wing ships and like if the squadrons actually get close enough to each other, we like do a zoom-in battle.
It's gonna be madness. We could set a world record probably doing that. You have to zoom in and play a whole game of X-Wing.
Well, more like you have the small, like you keep track too of how many ships are left. So like that squadron, even though it's 4 TIE fighters, like you've destroyed 2 of them. So like it would be like an interesting sort of like a whole new war game.
Someone's gonna come up with it if we don't.
Well, I'm sure people will come up. It's not a matter of coming up with it. It's a matter of someone doing it.
Right.
Who's willing to give up a week to play it?
The people who play X-Wing already. Well, that all sounds pretty cool. There is another brand new announcement, actually also an expansion to an existing game, although a standalone as well, is Zombicide Black Plague, coming from Guillotine Games. If you're not familiar, there's lots of Zombicide games. Many of them are standalones. They just came out with Rue Morgue, which we have for sale. And this one was just released, and I believe it's going to be a Kickstarter because a lot of their Zombicides recently have been Kickstarters. And it takes place in medieval fantasy realms. So it's basically Dungeons and Dragons with zombies, or maybe even Army of Darkness, if you will. And basically the idea is necromancers have brought zombies from the dead, and you get to play the role of paladins, dwarves, etc., wizards, and that kind of thing. So it is going to be the same basic formula as the Zombicide games before, but with new mechanics and new stuff to incorporate magic and things like that. Kind of a cool idea.
The medievals alone is sort of like, oh, okay. I mean, I did also think that what you said, like the
Army of Darkness.
Yeah. But what I think is really cool about it means that they're like, okay, what if we really took the whole idea of our game mechanic and just threw in a completely different theme? which I think is a great thing because I think if there's one in space that'd be interesting. Like if you
like
did
Jason X.
No, but I mean like if you did like also maybe one like dinosaurs were involved or something. Like I think the fact that they're willing to say, okay, we're gonna actually revamp this to a whole new crazy thing.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good sign that they're putting new life into the franchise. Could also be a sign that maybe they should stop.
No, because I think it's really we haven't played it yet, but I've only heard a lot of good things. Like it's really easy to pick up, which is really good, and the pieces look wonderful.
And they said this would be the same way.
The other thing I thought of, just in terms of, was also Borderlands when they did their medieval expansion. So I'm wondering if there's going to be like small thing like hand cannon, like just something really like just sort of
right. It's a good it's like chocolate and peanut butter. It's good to mix the flavors now and then. But you've got a game that I really want you to tell me about.
Oh yeah, so Plaid Hat, a favorite of ours because we can never seem to get their big selling games.
Right. Nor can anyone else.
Has announced a new game, Ashes: Rise of the Phoenixborn. This game it's an expandable game, and judging by the way it works, it's going to be pretty much an ECG, or for those who know the copyright term, LCG, in which you're playing the Phoenixborn. It's pretty much like sort of a legendary warrior, and they're trying to ascend to become gods because they just fought the Calamity. So, it's an all-out brawl of legends. And so it's a deck building, not deck building game. It's you're going to make your decks from a lot of different cards, summon allies, spells, and whatnot.
Before the game.
And just like other ones, it's going to come with 6 different decks in it already. So that's pretty cool. So like the LCGs we know came with, Doomtown came with 4. I don't know, the other one we played, Netrunner, it came with 6, but they're designed, you have to do one against each other.
Right.
I don't know if this one's one of the, but by the sound of it, it can be multiplayer. You can, of course, customize your decks. But what it also said, which I'm very curious about, like it said right off the bat, you can do drafting. That said it would take minutes. So that'd be really nice because I know my big problem sometimes with LCGs is just because keeping up with one and all the expansions. And the draft would be much easier when you just say, okay, you just take all your cards and everyone just pass around and make your deck.
That definitely sounds like a nice, because when I hear there's an expandable card game come out, I get scared. But Plaid Hat, of course, has had a lot of success with Summoner Wars too, which is still going. So it's nice that you can be confident they kind of know what they're doing.
Oh, we should mention it does look very nice. Like
the art, and Plaid Hat always the components.
Oh, I'm not saying like this is a shock.
No, right, right. No, they're always awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to hear more about it. It's
you'll probably pick it up.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm usually I definitely want to try it. But I'm always hesitant to get into anything with collecting.
Well, I think first off, it's easier. It's always good because you're in the start.
Right.
That's very important, unlike jumping into one. Not to say that the other LCGs are bad.
Right.
2, I think the drafting mechanic can get a lot easier. So, you won't feel as guilty when you get the new expansion. It's not like, great, I have to remake my whole deck over. You're just like, more drafting.
Yeah.
So, I think that would probably be a good one for you.
I definitely like to check it out. Of course.
Then again, I know you're going to pick up the Versus one.
What versus one?
The Versus.
The Versus. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, so there are those things that will tempt me here and there. But I know Ashes is available for pre-order now on Plaid Hat's site.
Yes.
But of course, we'll be carrying it later.
Well, we hope. Well, it's not like Dead of Winter.
We'll see. Yeah, it just might be with these Plaid Hat games. One final story today. It's kind of a goofy, silly one. Is on Twitter this past week. Twitter user Brittany Bowe, who actually is a game industry person, works for GTS, the distributor.
That's her official title, game industry person.
Game industry person started this hashtag board game haiku that kind of caught on across the Twitterverse. People writing haikus about different board games and about board game lifestyles in general, if you will, which are lots of fun. You can check them out. See what some of your favorite ones. Just search for that hashtag.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You have a couple haikus for us right now.
In honor of the hashtag, I wrote in the last 20 minutes some fantastic haikus for you, and you will see.
There's a reason why he writes them, because mine just don't come out.
Mine might not be that good either.
No, at least you made it. You made the count. For me, it'd just be like, oh wait.
Technically, a haiku doesn't have to be 575.
Right.
That's kind of but that's what these are. These are 575s.
We're not getting into the specifics of haiku because that's like a translation error and the whole fun vote.
Anyway, we'll see if
that's a later topic of the week.
Figure out Figure out what games they're based on.
So I have to guess.
Yeah, you have to guess.
Okay.
They're pretty obvious, probably, at least for you. People at home can play along. Okay, ready? The ship's in peril. I'll launch rockets at our foes. Whoops! Tried to go left.
Space Alert.
There you go. All right, there we go. Next one. I'm not a Cylon. We can save humanity. I am a Cylon. Okay.
That's my favorite.
Just wait, okay, next one. My family starves. My crops, they refuse to grow. I live with a sheep.
Agricola.
There you go. The final one more. This might be the best one. This 3 is yellow. This 3 right here is yellow. This 3 is yellow! Thank you. That's Hanabi. Those are my haikus. Hopefully you guys out there had a chance to maybe write your own, and you can tweet those and join the fun. I'm sure it's still going.
We'd love to hear more.
We'd love to hear more.
But for now, I think it's time we move on to Kickstarter or Pickstarters. Now, usually we just have one Kickstarter each, but we actually have throw another one in, mostly because it's sort of a news story, but once again, Kickstarter. So the reason is it's because Evolution has put up their new expansion, Flight, on Kickstarter. And the reason I want to bring this up is, of course, I'll start with the price. It's by North Star Games. We have played Evolution. We both loved it a lot. It's great. This new expansion is pretty cool. $25. Focus on birds.
We have it for sale. The original.
But the big thing is there's a whole second edition for the game. Different artwork on the cover. Looks completely different. But the big thing is they pretty much revamped a lot of the rules, too.
It's basically a full-on second edition.
Yes, it's full-on. I'm not talking about just one or two small tweaks. Like a whole new different cards. Because apparently people are playing cards with too high values. The pool was never starving, which I realized when we play, there's never a worry about usually plants in the center.
Right. If you played the game, you know what we're talking about.
So they reprinted values on there, and also some of the cards, because certain cards are a bit too strong, like Pack Hunting and I think Fertile Ground it was. So what they're doing in this, because I was worried because I'm like, I have the first edition. What am I going to do? And I actually read, not on their Kickstarter page, I actually had to find it on Board Game Geek, that if you back this, get the expansion, you will get complete set of whatever the new cards are.
Oh, so you can mix and match and replace your old stuff, so you'll be up to date.
Yes, and that made me really because you don't need to get the other set; you can get just the expansion. Now, if you don't back it, they're going to look into being able to sell it. So you will have to pay for it if you don't get the expansion now. But if you do, you get the whole second set for free, which is really important, I think, which is why I wanted to bring this up.
Cool.
The expansion is only $25, and if you don't have the game, I think you should buy it. It's a beautiful. The artwork's great. The game's really fun. It definitely brings a lot of the idea of evolving and how you actually have to adapt, and some of us fail to adapt very frequently.
Yeah, we like it a lot.
Yeah, so just wanted to make a note of that for sort of a public announcement.
Bonus Kickstarter, Pickstarter. And your other one.
Yeah, my actual Kickstarter, I got Mixtape Massacre. This game is from Bright Light Media. And the game itself is about pretty much you're in the town and you're all playing as different horror movie tropes. One guy's like Jason, one's like
Jason X.
Yeah, it's like Jason X. One like the Ring Monster, one's an evil clown. And you're pretty much just trying to prove who's the baddest murderer, slasher movie murderer.
Not licensed. It's all parody.
Yes, it's all parody. What's really cool is you go around town. There's different events, and depending on you might be able to find someone who's you lost your keys and you killed someone, you get points. They could try to attack you back. There's also treasures where you can get it's you got a sequel and get extra points and stuff. It's all based on the cool sort of slashers VCR. Hence
is there
the
a Chucky? Maybe Chucky in this? It's got to be.
I can't remember if there's a Chucky one or not. There is a Gremlin.
Oh, okay.
There was a Gremlin. I'm trying to remember all of them for and there's one that's the Nightmare.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger reference guy. And of course, I'm sure if there's
there will be more. I'm sure more. Yeah.
And also, what's interesting is you can attack each other.
Oh, okay.
And what I like the most, your kill count also life bar. You each get a little knife. You put in front of you, and you hold your special card with your abilities, like your profile with little tokens. So it looks really cool, really fun. A great homage to the all these kinds of movies. It's going for $60 right now. They had an early bird special. I don't know if they're going to do another one. I've seen many Kickstarters do that, like a 48-hour special deal.
Right.
It only just started like yesterday or yesterday of this recording.
A few days ago.
Yeah. And it's already. I want to say it's pretty well on its way. I mean, it hasn't hit it yet, but like I said, it literally maybe 48 hours tops of this recording. So if you're into if you were just alive during the 80s and no horror movies, this will probably be something that you'll enjoy playing.
Sounds like a fun theme, definitely.
Yeah.
It sounds really cool. Mine is kind of a special one this week. It is Battle Bards, and this is not a game. It is actually kind of an accessory for role-playing games. Comes from the Orange County Gaming Group, or at least some founders of the Orange County Gaming Group. They previously had launched a Kickstarter for a thing called Realm Sound 2.0, where it's a bunch of different audio tracks and mixes and like dialogue and ambient sound effects for role-playing games. So as the DM, you would play them in the background of things.
Something which we have, even outside of role-playing or regular games, we've said like it would be great if there's certain things.
Right.
Just to get you in the mood, kind of.
Yeah, we like stuff like that. And this new one that they're launching, which actually should be out either today, it's supposed to come out April 14th. So there should be a link. If we don't have one, then it might not have launched yet. So we're fresh off the presses here.
Watch our Twitter. We'll probably post it there then.
Yeah, this is actually a sort of a whole. They're doing a whole online system for this, and we were lucky enough. They sent us over some of the previews of it. We got to try out the soundboard and the mixer that they have, and a lot of the sound effects and stuff like that. And it's a whole online program which will work offline as well once you sign up for it. And you can, not only does it have, it's not just you play music tracks and you have sound effects, although that's obviously in there, but you can very easily loop them. You can crop them to just what you want. You can mix them in a way that you're playing two different sound effect tracks on top of each other. So you might have, you're in a tavern, but you have spooky music and there's a dragon outside. There's lots of different ways you can customize it. And you can also create your own mixes and share them with people. So if someone else might have created something really cool.
That would be really sweet, because I'm sure then you could see like, here's my Arkham Horror mix or something. You can see people probably put one for each specific board game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is geared for role-playing, but you're totally right. You could use it for anything, really.
No, that's the thing. Like, role-playing, it's great when throwing on the other stuff. But like we've said, I could just think, just a tune, like something very slight for like when we're playing. In particular, any game where you're stressed, like Battlestar, Arkham Horror,
it is, of course,
Alien, Legendary,
mostly fantasy themed, we should say.
Right.
It's all,
but I mean,
wizards and stuff.
Once you start it up, I don't see it that hard to.
They're going to be making more, I'm sure. And if it's a success, I'm sure they'll do more with it. But it's really cool. The music is it's professionally done. They have people who've worked on some big movies and TV shows and stuff in terms of sound design. And so stuff that we got to listen to and try out is really cool. And probably, if we ever get around to finishing our D&D campaign, I'd love to incorporate some of it. So that is Battle Bards. It will be online shortly, if not already. Then the link will be below. I don't know exactly what the pricing and stuff is, because as of this date, it hasn't officially launched yet. Mm-hmm. But you can check it out and sign up, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
So that is it for our Kickstarter. We have one final segment for this show, which is, of course, our topic of the week.
Last Saturday was International Tabletop Day. We hope you enjoyed it. We did, because we did a whole live streaming during Tabletop Day, which we actually are going to be doing later, because this is being filmed before then.
So if you missed that, hopefully it'll still be online. You can watch the whole thing, or we will come out with a truncated version for you later on.
All the special moments when we're yelling at each other and blaming each other.
I can't wait. But Tabletop Day is not just something that we do. It's a whole big old thing. It actually did not start too long ago. The first one was in 2013, and of course it was started by the gang over at Geek and Sundry, Will Wheaton and Felicia Day, inspired by the success of their tabletop show, which was a big deal for the industry just in terms of getting the concept of board games out to a more mainstream audience.
Still is.
Yeah, I mean, it's still doing a great
assuming
job.
that also they don't just disappear by the time we get through this.
That would be pretty awkward. But so it's a pretty new thing, and in addition to talking about how the different ways to celebrate and stuff, I think it's interesting to think about the concept itself of a day for board games. Like, it seems like everything has a day now.
No,
right?
everything does have a day.
Yeah.
I remember I used to see on Facebook, I'd start blocking them just because I'd see someone say, Happy Cat Day, Happy awareness, insert something, awareness day.
Right.
Like, everything has a day.
It's your secretaries whose birthday is in August month.
Yeah, no, there's certain
June.
there's certain ones that make sense, like, because it's actually relate to something important happening, or for example, March 14th is Pi Day because 3.14.
Right.
Like, there's certain ones
March
that like
10th is Mario Day.
May 4th, May the 4th.
Like towel. Anyway, there's a lot of days, but in terms of tabletop day, is like, what are you? Because it's a very young thing, and who knows, might not even be something we talk about for in the future, but. I mean, what do you think are, like, how should it be celebrated going forward? Is there anything in particular, like, ideas you think would be really good for promoting it, or what stores could do? I mean, they do a lot of things.
Well, let's start with what they already do.
Yeah.
First of all, a lot of people, including us, will be doing like live streams during this time.
That's a fun one.
I know stores will, in brick and mortar stores, will actually get special promo kits designed just for this day, where you can win special games that won't be sold anywhere else. And
that's another great thing for bringing in new players. When they like one of the big, I think the thing that this makes me think of most is Free Comic Book Day, which didn't start that long ago, which is a big thing for comics, for getting a ton of people who don't normally read comics come into the store and check it out. And I think the same thing potentially happens with this, where families and gaming groups come and see these signs and posters, and this looks like fun. I didn't know there were games like this, and they're like, Splendor and Camelot. Hey,
no, I think it's a great thing, and hopefully you'll continue on, because I cannot count the number of times when I tell someone, like, what do you do, and tell them about Roll for Crit, and they're like, you mean like Monopoly? Like, no one knows anything outside the Hasbro gaming thing.
Right.
Like, we still have a long ways to go. Like, I'm surprised how far we've gone. Like, board games have really grown. And
we were just I was talking to our coworker friend Neil about how far board games have come just since we've started playing them. I mean, and like same thing, like video games have advanced so much, and in the same way, I think board games are just rapidly changing, not in terms of awareness and how they play.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, before it used to be, I remember when we first started, I used to just think it was just us who played board games. Like, it wasn't a thing. But now, like, I realize that everyone does it. Like, I see all the people in my fraternity who are always like, yeah, I play high. I did that. Like,
yeah,
it's not this weird niche. Only people who lived in their basement for years.
Although we still get the those fun articles. Is Magic the new Pokemon?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, we've made a great leaps, but we're still really far. Like, if someone says video games, people understand there's a lot of different ones. I mean, there's still the stereotypes of Grand Theft Auto will cause you to go kill someone.
Right.
Just like To Kill a Mockingbird. Not To Kill a Mockingbird. What's the book I don't...
Are you talking about Hunger Games?
No, it's the old one.
Old book.
The Reap... God, now I forget.
The
guy's like...
Those people... Catcher in the Rye?
Catcher in the Rye. Thank you.
I got there. Yeah, right. But and of course there's... No one's, I don't think, ever accused a board game of inciting violence, but
yet.
They do perhaps accuse them of inciting lack of friends.
Yeah, like, I'm sure the stereotype's still around the basement dwellers.
Right. But we're making strides. And Tabletop Day, of course, is a big part of that. And I know...
Nothing wrong against people who play in the basement.
No, of course not. We do it ourselves. But I know, Will Wheaton and them did live stream. I think they probably started that kind of tradition, at least on Tabletop Day. And it's a whole big movement.
Yeah. Well, I think another big thing that's also really nice that I hope comes from as we spread more, and I think that's important. It's not Tabletop Day; it's International Tabletop Day.
Right. They do things in all other countries as well.
Yeah. And I think that's really important, because the more that word becomes the spread of word, that means we're going to see more games from other cultures, from different viewpoints. I think that's really important.
I think it almost has to be International Tabletop Day, because so many of the biggest board games and market for board games comes out of Germany and European countries.
Well, not only that, I mean, look at some of the earliest board games. Are like, I think the earliest board game was like India or somewhere, or like in that general area. It's like,
so we're, you know,
we have no right to claim the day.
The Western market has sort of adopted it as their own, and they're taking it under its wing. But it certainly belongs to everybody everywhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a great thing, and yeah, it's cool that, you know, it's really just something they just started. It's not like no government official put it on the calendar or anything, but it's taking off. Right.
As soon as you become president,
we're working on it.
I'm not. I'm going to be working in the shadows.
I'm announcing my candidacy. And, so yeah, it's cool that how it's really has people have really taken a hold of it and allowed it to be a real thing. Yeah, and I'm sure it will continue to grow.
Yeah,
on and on in the future. Let us know how you're celebrating Tabletop Day below.
Celebrated.
How you have celebrated it in the past, and what you think would be a good idea, a way to celebrate it in the future. You can watch our show. We'll put a link to it below if you feel like spending 12 hours. Or you can send us an email. Maybe you have a suggestion about a future topic of the week.
Right.
Or you have some other kind of idea or something you want us to answer a question, anything.
Maybe a playback you want us to play, a game you want us to play.
Of course, you can send us an email. Our email is rollforcrit@gmail.com, or leave a comment right on this video.
You should also subscribe to this video.
Please. And how else can they get in touch with us?
Well, of course, there's the Twitter. I mean, we have our own Twitters. We have our, the Roll for Crit Twitter. There's many ways to get to us.
Facebook,
and then, of course, there's always just visiting our site.
Yeah.
Rollforcrit.com. There we post all of our videos as well as news articles. So plenty of news, that maybe not everything we get to each week. Mm-hmm. As well as we have all the items we sell. A lot of the things we talked about, we sell or are going to sell in the future.
And you can sign up for our newsletter as well to get full details on all that stuff, up to the minute reporting, and I think that'll do it for this amazing, fun-filled episode. I had a good time.
Hopefully we'll have a good time with Tabletop, and we hope you had a good time for our International Tabletop Day.
We really do.
But I'm Will Keeler.
But I'm Jonathan Estes. But this has been the Roll for Crit podcast.